Alright, so I thought I'd show off one of the victory conditions, or a victory in good old Binding of Isaac. It's just a bit of a warning. This is going to be chopped up into a couple different pieces, because the original video is an hour, almost an hour and a half long. So, right off the bat, the first item I pick up is the Halo Flies, which is that circling protection layer that's kind of hanging out around me, which is aptly, obviously, flies. And it's actually one of the more awesome items you can pick up, especially early on. You can actually get one more and have 3 circling you, and it'll really help out with your overall health. It allows you to take a lot less hits, especially when you get into areas where there's a lot of enemies that shoot at you. Now, I'll try to refrain from talking too much, just because, like I said, this is going to be a long series of videos. Kind of just hang out. I'll kind of fill in when there's something I need to comment on, and otherwise, I'll just kind of let it play out. I do at least do a little bit better in this video, all things considered. Now, the first bosses are usually pretty easy. Gemini, really the only thing you gotta worry about is getting caught on the whatever kind of background, whatever arena he's got for himself. Everything kind of randomizes and changes, so really all you gotta do is kind of just kite him around the edge of the room. Then this little guy he can be challenging. You just have to watch out where he flies off to when you hit him, because when you hit him, he tends to veer off in a direction. So he can actually get around behind you, which he almost does a couple times here. But other than that, Gemini's not too difficult. And you can actually kind of get him stuck in a corner like that and beat him pretty easily. Range up, always handy to have. Especially once you get, if you get any better shots, it seems like they have a shorter range to them, so range, always good to have. One of the things you kind of have to take advantage of in this game, and it's vital for your survival later on levels, is that you really need to make sure you clear out and get anything of any value in a room. And even if you don't pick it up right away, at least know that it's there. There'll be times where you really could use an extra bomb or another key or something, or even a heart. And it's really important to know where they are and pick them up before you leave a floor, because you can't come back. The first 2 levels don't really have any difficult enemies that are gonna throw you for a loop, and just a little bit of playthrough and you'll pick them up pretty easily. The only real things you gotta worry about sometimes are these guys when they hit fire. When they get caught on fire like that, they can actually jump and move a lot faster. So you have to be very wary of where they jump to, and make sure you stay, ahead of the game. So far, not a bad set of treasures. The Rosary, pretty obviously, just gives you some more of the faith hearts, or the temporary hit points, as there is. You'll notice sometimes that with these cards, I'm pretty bad about remembering which ones do exactly what, and for some reason I keep thinking some of them actually last for longer than a room, but I don't believe any of them actually do. I also kind of forgot exactly what that was that was sitting there. I was like, is that... Just to make sure, you know, whether or not I want to come back and get it. Because I didn't have any space items at the moment. And I'm only too short. I was like, well, maybe the Bible will help. I can at least get flying for once. Which it tends to be one of those things that is just hard to come by. But then again, I get this really nice shredder here that actually coughs up a lot of items for one key. Back to back, pretty decent treasure chest, both of them. The best thing I've found for these, like, kind of combat arena pits like this is to get to an edge real quickly. Because all the enemies kind of spawn in a circle around the middle. And a lot of the enemy types you can kind of just deal with from the edge of the map pretty easily. My little unicorn. That's perhaps one of the best items. Whether or not it's overpowered is kind of a debatable topic, but it's definitely one of the better usable items. And here's a hint, I actually carried that through the entire game, so... I'm not sure if the magician, if the shots like home or if they just kind of turn. There's a mirror item you can get to kind of make sure shots like boomerang back towards you, and it's kind of similar to what the magician shots would do, but I'm not 100% sure because you know, you use it a lot and you only get it in certain situations. So, but yeah, the My Little Unicorn thing kind of makes you just straight up invincible, as well as being able to do damage when you run into people. So it is a good way to finish off enemies, bosses especially, or just really troublesome types of enemies if they get in your way. Caves is kind of where things get started and the difficulty starts increasing. Yes, so 9 volt essentially lets you get your items back quicker, which makes the unicorn horn even more powerful. And these guys here, not this particular version, but these types of enemies are probably my least favorite of all in the entire series of floors. Not that, you know, they're terribly difficult all the time, but they slow down the pace of the game, and especially the regular ones which we'll certainly see. They just like I said, generally you kind of want to stick to the edges of these rooms, so that way you can kind of deal with whatever comes at you. Buy you some space to work with whatever's coming out at you, so. Usually the lower or the upper levels, none of the enemies that come out are really too much of a challenge, and the only real challenge, I guess, is getting to a good safe position right at the beginning, right off the bat. I said, the only reason I really hate these guys is because they just never, it's never the right one pops up when I need it to. I'm like ready to kill one guy and I can't, so I come over to attack him and then the other one pops up. So you literally you can kind of just bait them into attacking you by standing still in front of them for kind of an indeterminate amount of time, and they'll eventually pop back up. Like I said, it just kind of slows it down. Gluttony, not too difficult. Really, all you gotta do is avoid the big beam. If you can shoot from range, you can usually avoid the like gateway shot that he puts out afterwards. Or she, I don't even know. But we get an awesome little eye drop out of it, and some pills. It's always kind of a good idea to test your pills early, because you might find more of those types later on. And it's good to know what they are now, when they can't really do too much damage to you, rather than later on when you might need them, and you don't want to, you know, have to rely on something you don't know to help you. It might end up getting you killed. So I generally will pop the pills almost immediately, just to find out what they are. The Book of Shadows is, I would kind of set as kind of the poor man's unicorn. I mean, it doesn't do the extra damage. It's literally just kind of a damage shield. I didn't show it off just because I didn't really think about it at the time. Sometimes it's just one of those things you don't realize and don't think about until later on. Like, oh, I probably should have hit the button and just showed it off at least. But I imagine I probably know what all these things are anyway. For some reason, the secret door also opened up there, which was kind of odd. I think it might have hit the edge of it when that guy exploded, but I kind of botched up and had to use my bomb to reopen it, just to get a slot machine. Slot machines can actually be pretty beneficial, even if you don't have a lot of coins. You might get a full health pill just like that. The only kind of gripe I have is that you sometimes trying to take advantage of these ones that are in like the secret places, or ones that are just in a room by themselves, it's a lot harder to take advantage of, because you might get hearts that you can't do anything with, or you might get items that you have no need for. In an arcade, you can at least sack some hearts and get some more coins back. You can continue to take advantage of the overall game by, you know, playing the shell game or shooting the, not shooting, using the slot machine and seeing if you can, you know, turn up something better than what you can normally get. These enemies. Now, a bit of a trick, I guess, or a hint. These grubs can be quite a pain in the ass if you were to enter the room all the way. Because they love to rush you, and they won't stop until they get to the edge of the area. If you stand in the doorway, the game doesn't really treat you as being entirely in the room yet as far as they're concerned. Some enemies will, but those guys won't come charging at you. nothing else really to exploit on this floor, so let's go take on the boss. And this is actually my first time fighting the Headless Horseman. And it is kind of a pain in the ass fight. Really, because you kind of have to concern yourself with both of them and both their shots. The head just kind of does that little charge every once in a while, but if you get close enough to him, he'll actually start shooting the three-way shot. And it's kind of, I think probably the best tactic would have been to actually just focus on one and take him out, especially the head. Get the head out of the way so it doesn't do the random charging. And then you can take on the horse. Now you will notice some slowdown, and I would say normally that's just my computer. Okay. But this game happens to have a bad problem sometimes with frame rate, where it kind of just slows down. And like I said, it kind of seems like it runs on some kind of flash. Yeah, so the riding horse just kind of does a little charge attack, I guess. And it doesn't seem terribly effective compared to, well, what we've already got. Maybe it has some other situational uses, but I'm still not sold on taking it over My Little Unicorn. Caves 2, just still continuation, still some of the same enemies. You start to get a few more newer guys. Like, these things can be quite a pain in sort of a map where you're limited in movement, but not too bad when you have a bit of space to work in. Now we have an attack fly, which I don't believe it actually does any shot absorption, but it does do damage when it runs through enemies, so it does have at least a practical use. And we will slowly have a hail of flies surrounding us at some point. Well, more of a halo. We will have all the flies. Now the off-colored enemies like this usually have some sort of additional effect to them. Maybe they'll do more damage or move faster, but they also often contain an item. So while it might be, one of those things where, man, you've got a more challenging enemy to deal with, chances are you'll also at least get a reward for having to deal with it at the end. I also kind of had a bit of problems with these spike rooms because I really don't enjoy really fast characters, and I kind of just the overall speed kind of gets me caught up on things sometimes, and so I think I avoided most of it in this floor, but later on there's parts where I hit the spikes that I just don't want to hit. This is generally how the arcade room exploiting goes. And you're kind of just making a back and forth between three positions. Kind of making just a back and forth between the three machines, refilling your health, putting your hearts back into the machine to get some coins, and then putting the coins into the other two to try to better yourself, be it through more bombs or pills or keys or whatever. If you luck out, maybe you'll end up breaking the slot machine or winning the winning the shell game and getting some other item like this, I think, is more common, most common. Is the only drop? I don't know, but it's definitely one I get most of the time whenever you happen to win the shell game and he takes off. So it doesn't really make for a lot of compelling viewing or anything, but it's one of the strategies you really do have to take advantage of, especially if you want to arm yourself for later on. Because really, money doesn't really serve a lot of purpose, other than lucking out and getting a decent item from a shop. Otherwise, it really is just used here to kind of bolster your fees, your bombs, your heart capacity sometimes, or just straight up your overall health if you happen to have enough coins to kind of benefit from that all. Hey, and then there's the third fly for our little halo, and that'll definitely come in handy because, well, later on there's a lot of enemies to shoot, and there's a lot more stuff. There's just chaos everywhere, so having all three flies makes everything a lot easier, or at least it makes it more survivable, and that's pretty much the big important part of this game, is surviving. I also kind of realized, oh hey, there's a half heart there, let's see what I can do with the coins I get for a half heart. I don't think I get anything for it, but you know, always gotta try.